Hey everybody, Kyle here with Spicer Designs. I do think I pulled a groin though. It's the second time this month. Conveyor rails. Conveyor feeder for XTool P2. Welcome back to the channel. What we have here is all the parts and pieces to put together the conveyor rails kit and the conveyor feeder kit for the XTool P2. Now I just introduced the XTool P2 to the channel last week, so if you want all the specs and features and kind of just the basic idea on how to get this thing up and running, I will leave a link for that video down in the description. But today we're going to focus on that conveyor system and we're going to test it out. Now I've been pretty excited about this conveyor system because I have a special project that I've been working on that I'm going to be revealing to you today. And we're going to turn that special project into a project using the conveyor system on the P2. Okay, what the f do we have going on here? Quick start guide. Oh yeah, okay. You just Anyways, I'm going to throw you on a time lapse. I'm going to zip this thing together really quick, and then we can kind of talk about the assembly versus you watching me do every single little installation part, because there are plenty of videos out there showing you exactly how to put this thing together. I don't need to make a repeat. Okay, these rails, super easy to put together. It's not even worth talking about. You just saw the time lapse, easy. But the hardest part about this conveyor system is having the space to do it, because you need to have these rails extend out the front and extend out the back so you can run some long material all the way through that thing and keep it all in the same plane. So I'm going to utilize my fab table here, which is a 3x5, and my adjustable workbench here. I'm going to bring that up to the right height and try to shimmy this stuff around. Again, not what it looks like. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to try to slide this thing on by myself, which shouldn't be a problem. This P2 is pretty large and pretty heavy, and it's not really designed to be moved around a lot. It's made to be in one place and then left there. It's a little wider than 3 foot, so we're hanging off the edges by like 1.5 inches. That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to put this in front of it so we can run our material in this way. Now we still have a little bit of the fab table left in the back to let it shoot out the other end. This is going to take a little trial and error, but this will be good because then I'll know how to orientate this thing in the shop once I get this stuff organized, which is hopefully coming soon. All right. This is the meat and taters of the operation. This actually has the stepper motors in it to push that stuff in and out. And this attaches to the XTool somehow here. I'm gonna figure that out. I believe we have to pull the tray out. For materials of thickness that are less than 8 millimeters, we're going to put the tray on level 2A. And yes, I was trying to rhyme. 10 centimeters? Why is everything in freaking metric? I don't freaking have anything that measures in centimeters. It's a centimeter. What is a centimeter? 10 millimeters and 2.54 centimeters equals an inch. An inch. I don't know grammar either. Hey Siri.
Uh-huh.
What are you wearing tonight?
I found this on the web.
Way to beat around the bush. Hey Siri.
Uh-huh.
Convert 10 centimeters to inches. Right?
That would be 3.94 inches.
3.94. All right, we're just gonna call it 4 inches. I don't know, freaking, yeah. Okay, now we have to hook this thing in there somehow? I don't freaking know. Oh, well, I think it goes in here. I think it just freaking sits on there. And we got our plug here that'll plug into that little port in the backside of the P2. Same place as the rotary tool. You don't even need to measure it. You just set it on there and scoot it in. I mean, you had to overcomplicate that. Oh, you gotta, it's like you have to actually bolt it in there. Oh, okay. We do need to remove all of these slats, which Do take a little time to remove, but not real hard. Now, very important, in the instructions there are different thickness settings. Depending on how thick the material is that you're going to be engraving on or running through the P2, they provide you with little spacers that would go in between the conveyor system and the mounting part of the P2 just to give you a different height. So it's something to keep in mind when you're setting it up initially. That way you know what height to put it on so you're not pulling it all apart and moving it. The material that I'm going to run through is going to be about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. What's that in millimeters? Convert 14 millimeters to inches.
0.55 inches.
Okay, 14 millimeters, about 1/2 inch. Okay, it's starting to look like you really can't go thicker than like just over 1/2 inch, which that seems kind of odd. Son of a bitch. Well, I don't know if I like that. Yeah, that's as high as you can go. Well, I can't even do what I wanted to do. Huh. Well, forget that idea. So I'm gonna set it up for the thicker material and I'm gonna install these spacers. So we are installing these little spacers. There's an arrow, it's pointing up. Then we have to mount them to it and then we can slide it in and mount the conveyor. Just like so. Okay, now we can slide the conveyor in. I give you these longer screws. They're about 1 inch long or 2.54 centimeters. And these go in right here on both sides. Okay, I figured something out. When you use the spacers like we did to mount the conveyor feeder for the larger material, because you only basically have 2 choices or 2 settings to install this conveyor based off of the thickness of material that you're engraving or cutting. So these little pieces that I slid on these little stanchions here, those are also spacers. So if you use the spacer on the conveyor feeder, it will actually set that conveyor feeder a little bit lower. So I'm going to actually remove these spacers and that will allow the rails to sit lower as well. Because right now they're sitting just a smidge high. So I'm going to loosen that set screw, pretty quick to do, and slide this off. And then there's a larger pocket on the outsides of this conveyor that you can slide the end of this into, and it actually has like a little compression piece on the end. So it will compress and fit in there, and you could slide it over to the desired width. So you can kind of see what's going on here. Set a material on this, it feeds it in, and you can also buy the extra rail kits so you can get more length out of your rail system. The conveyor feeder itself comes with a rail for the front and a rail for the back, which we're going to install here in just a second. And then you almost need to get another kit that's just the rails so you can get a little length on it. My other concern was that if you install this conveyor feeder system, then are you limited to only using the conveyor and not being able to use the laser for other projects? But after looking at it more, you could put your slats back in. The conveyor does not affect your slats from being in there. And you can still close your lid. You would just have this bottom tray door open, leave your rails in place or disconnect them, whatever you want to do. So you could still do engravings even though the conveyor system is attached to the unit. I just thought it would be kind of a pain if you had to pull this whole thing on and off every time you wanted to switch from the conveyor or just to do a normal laser engraving project. So that's good. That's very good. Pretty good. All right, now let's move around to the back. Same deal. Pop open the access door and we have our conveyors. These have an additional piece on there. I don't know what the significance of that is. So you really kind of need to find the sweet spot with your stanchion here. I'm a little far. I'm just gonna slide that in. And it looks like it's the same setup as the front. It's got those little notches, the larger openings on each end of the conveyor feeder. We just have to stick that little end cap in there and then slide them to the desired width. And then I threw together the other rails from the rail kit and we just basically slide them into these. Pretty easy. And there we go. Now it does say to bolt these together, but there's like that little compression fitting in there. I don't see them going anywhere. For what they are, I mean, they're just rolling material in. I think we'll be okay without them. That way you can just pop them apart real quick if you don't want to have all the sitting out on your bench. Same deal, slide them in. Now all we have left to do is to hook up the exhaust fan to the XTool smoke purifier. Now inside here we've got the cable. It just has to plug in. One right here and one right here. And we can just tuck that in. And the XTool smoke purifier. In the handy dandy side compartment, I have the hose stored. Go ahead and slide this on. Basically, we just have to route it out of the way. So we're gonna take our sticky back that they give you in the kit. We're gonna pop this on right here. They also give you a tie wrap. They give you 2 tie wraps and 2 sticky backs. We'll slide this through. All right, I think we are ready to go. Got the XTool smoke purifier, got our exhaust, we've got it routed out of the way of the opening. We have our extra rail kit, the feeder rail kit, same with the front, our conveyor feeder, and we are plugged in, and all of the slats are gone. So as you can see, this is quite the contraption here. We are looking at roughly 9 feet long, and I believe that you can actually run a piece of material that's around 120 inches long, I think it's 118 inches long, through this thing. So we're not even at the full length yet. So if you are considering the conveyor system for your XTool, your P2 or your S1, keep in mind you're gonna need some kind of a setup here. And I will say that this adjustable table is probably gonna be the ticket for me. I think I'm gonna end up getting another one of these tables so I can have one set up in the front and the back, because I do plan on a permanent setup for the XTool P2 and the S1 and its own laser engraving station, and I can go ahead and add these tables to it as needed when I'm running the conveyor system. All right, I'm gonna get the laptop hooked up, get some material, do a little test run, and then the big reveal. I know the anticipation's killing you. Not me, I really don't give a shit. Okay, it is the next day. Last night, we got all this stuff set up. I went out today and I picked up a couple of these, I think they're 5.5 wide. 5.5 wide by 3 foot, I believe. Little solid oak boards, and they are 1/4 inch thick or 6.5 millimeters thick. They're made in the USA. I'll be damned. I hate when they put stickers on this shit. And those crappy paper stickers, so you have all the freaking glue stuck to them. All the technology we have, and this is the best we can do. These were $10 a piece. Definitely made their money on me today. And I got 2 of them. I'm going to use one of them just for a little trial and error, some testing purposes, and then we're going to do the final run, revealing my secret project. All right, I have my laptop set up. The P2 is on. Obviously we have lights. Now I've already scooted in the rails, pretty easy to do. I didn't put all the bolts in there, so I could just kind of slide them around freely. What I'm going to do is there's these rollers on the bottom, and the grip on these things is insane. It feels like it'll rip your skin off, so extreme grip on these bottom rollers. And those rollers actually become your new Y-axis. It'll move the board forward and backwards so you can engrave. So this bottom knob right here, you can manually move the bottom roller. So if you want to start moving the material in or backing it out, you can do that manually. Once you close this lid, it locks that knob up. You can no longer move it manually anymore, so just keep that noted. This upper knob right here is going to raise and lower the top rollers. So this is what you're going to use to squeeze down onto your material. As I turn this, you'll see those rollers come down. And now they're tight to the top of that material. Right there, raise and lower. Now the only thing that I don't like right off the bat is I don't see any way to guarantee that this long piece of material is square with the machine. It'd be nice if there was some kind of a guide set up on one edge where it held it square to the laser engraver, but there's not. Now I'm going to turn that bottom roller and you'll be able to see that material start walking in there. You can kind of square it up with the grid lines on there. It'll still move around a little bit. You just got to loosen the tension on your upper roller. Now something else to keep in mind, you're going to spend a little bit more time on your layout, being that it's a longer piece. You're going to want to measure this thing out, see how long it is, see how long you want your design to be, which you'll set all that up in the Creative Space software. But the part that you need to remember is that your Y-axis is controlled by these rollers. So you won't be able to engrave all the way to the end of this board. You're gonna need to have it stop a good, probably 6 inches short or so. That's just a guess. So the rollers are still on that material and it's able to engrave it as it moves through. All right, I'm gonna lay this sucker out and we'll do a test run. I got a little, you'll see. Now we open up XTool Creative Space, which is the software that I recommend using with the XTool lasers. You can see here, this is our image of obviously our material sticking in and the rest of our laser bed. And we're gonna go over here to slats flat and we're going to change that to conveyor feeder. And then it says ensure that the slats are removed. They are removed. And now we need to get a distance for that laser head. I think we're gonna need a little bit more material sticking in there, so I am going to run this in a little further. It's probably not a bad idea from what I just noticed. Run that material in manually with that bottom roller, in and out, because it just slipped on me, so I didn't have those upper rollers tight enough. It's kind of hard to judge, like, is it too tight? Is it not tight enough? So I think we're good now. And now I'm going to refresh, and then I'm gonna go over to this little crosshair, and you see it's going to give me a space. I'm going to click that. The laser head's going to move over. It just took a measurement. Auto measure succeeded. 64.6 millimeters. I'm guessing that was the distance from the top of the material to the bottom of the laser head. Whatever. Let's get our image on here. I already made the design. We're not going to go through the whole design process. I've already talked about that before. Okay, so here is the project, and it's showing, oh yeah. Okay, we're going to go to conveyor. So I created that project on the slats flat, so that's how it opened it. So now we're going to take project here and I'm going to shrink it, and I'm going to start that right up toward the top, place it maybe right there. The length of our project, or the height, is 453 millimeters. Let's convert that. Fun.
The answer is 17.83 inches.
17.83 inches.
It's 1.49 feet.
Shut up, I'm done with you. So from the end of our material, we're only looking at right about here. So we still have a good 17, 18 inches of material hanging off here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unlock the dimensions, and I'm gonna actually just stretch this out a little bit. I'm gonna add another couple hundred millimeters. I'll go 600. All right, so you can see it really stretched that thing out. Still looks good. And I brought it in a little bit narrower than the actual width of the material because I want it to cut this as well, which I'm really curious how the cutting process is with the conveyor feeder. We'll see. So we have 6 millimeter solid wood, solid oak. I'm going to try this on 12 millimeter cherry plywood. So for the engraved settings, it's shown at 10%, 300 millimeters per second. I'm gonna go more. I'm gonna go freaking 20 because I'm feeling crazy. I feel like it never engraves dark enough on the wood. 100%, 5 millimeters per second. We'll just go with that. I think that we're ready. Let's just try it. This is a test piece. So I'm assuming that it's gonna get messed up. I highly doubt that I'm gonna get this on my first try, but maybe. Okay, I'm gonna close her up. I'm gonna turn on the XTool smoke purifier and we'll give it a whirl. Element is placed out of process area. Okay, that little shaded area right here, that is not the process area. This right here is the process area. So I need to move our design right here. Now, I'll try process. There we go. Let's see what happens. We're gonna hit start. Start. Here we go. I think it's working. Okay, well, definitely learned some things about this conveyor feature. I also learned that when you cut through wood with a laser, they will catch on fire. That is exactly what happened right here. Not so much here, but right here. It's really not that noticeable. Now you can see where we engraved. The coloring looks pretty good. I need to wipe some of the residue off of here. And the cut setting had no issue cutting through 1/4-inch solid oak. I actually think I could have sped that up a little bit because in some areas like this, it got a little hot and caught fire. Now, this did get messed up. You could see the end is a little bit narrow. What I noticed was that dark line forming right there, which told me that the back and forth motion on the y-axis was stuck. What was happening was these rollers were spinning on the material, so I had to go ahead and lower the top rollers to create more tension and really squeeze it so that these bottom rollers would actually grip and move the material in and out like it should be. That also was the issue right here. Something must have slipped somewhere and the end cut didn't mate up to where it started at, so I'll have to bust that out, not a big deal. I could sand that down, you'll never notice. As far as inside of the engraver, check that out. A little bit of fire damage all through here. You can see some melting right here. These sections right here, I was kind of curious what those were for when I was assembling this. I now realize that this area right here is where all the laser engraving and cutting takes place. So it thins out so that laser can pass through freely. But on my particular design, a lot of that cutting was happening right on this edge, which was causing it to burn quite a bit. These little end caps that connect to the conveyor feeder, these are plastic. You can actually see that started to melt. So overall, not a complete failure for the first test run. You see the back of that thing. It was on fire pretty much the entire time it was cutting, you know, mostly on the backside. But I'm just gonna bust this out of here. There is our little design that we made. Obviously I'm from Indiana. If the end would have came out, I definitely would keep this. I was gonna maybe do a couple other little things to this, maybe burn the edges, stain it. Would actually be kind of a cool little thing to have, or maybe even give it away. But the end got effed up, so I'm pretty much going to use this as kindling. Okay, now it is time. We've got our test run done. I'm going to do a very similar, the same border, with something else. It's a secret project I've been working on. And this project was inspired by you, the viewers. You know, this all became a thing, which you'll see in a minute. So I'm going to run that through here again. I'm not going to film it. We basically just saw it with this. So the next scene that you see is the big reveal. I hope you like it. The moment we've all been waiting for. Well, maybe a couple people. This came out much better. Much better. Now, because of all of you, the viewers, this became a thing. So I've been working on this for a couple months now, little at a time, perfecting it. Spicer Designs, the company, has a new brand, Machine. That's right, it's finally official. I need to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to burn the edges and clear coat it. I think I'd like to give this away to one of you, the viewers. So here is a much clearer version of the logo. You can see I've got the digger bucket there for the M, through a little gear in the A. The CHI, I kind of pulled that from the original Spicer Designs logo so I can tie the two logos together. And the N and the E is just like a clamp. I had to keep that whole machine theme flowing. So the channel is still Spicer Designs, but if I make shirts or hats, keychains or tumblers, whatever the hell I decide to make, it's going to be branded as Machine. This would also include any kind of implements or parts or pieces, anything that I would make, maybe for the tractors or the excavators. I've got some other ideas, like my firewood splitter that I talked about a few videos back. And another exciting video I have coming up is the ultimate welding card. I've been talking about this one for a while. That welding card is going to be branded as Machine. So I've been pretty excited to share this with you guys, and I will get this thing all prepped up, cleaned up, painted, sealed, all that good stuff. And then we'll give this away in another video in the near future here. But back to the XTool P2, this conveyor feeder. It's pretty damn cool. One thing that I did notice is that when you actually cut something out, it seems to be a challenge to get the end cut to line up with the start cut. The second time around was much better. I was probably only 1/8 of an inch away from mating up perfectly. The trick is to definitely make sure you got those rollers nice and tight on that material so the Y-axis rollers grip the material really well. Otherwise, this is a really cool accessory that you can add to your laser engraver. I know that they offer this for the P2 and the S1. I think that's really it. And again, the XTool smoke purifier works freaking amazing. I don't smell any burning wood. There's no smoke in here. It's a total game changer as far as ventilation. So, like always, I will leave links down in the description for all of the XTool products that you see here today, along with some form of a code that may save you some money, also in the description. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please hit that like button. Only takes that quick. It's done. Also consider subscribing to the channel. I'll have more content on the XTool laser engravers, whether it's the P2 or the S1, which I'll probably do another giveaway for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. This is why I need a beer cooler out here already. Woohoo! And yeah, that looks pretty easy. Not a whole lot of bloopers in this one. I'm just getting too good at this. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And I didn't fall. But back to the semis. It's semi-season, I guess. Forgot about this turd. My new kindling. Ah! Maniac. Solid oak. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. It's dislocated. Damn it! All right, that's all I got. Peace out.